Hi guys, welcome to today's video. Today is the next part of retro reviews. We are doing the full review of each camera. So the first one, obviously, first things first, 2002, we're looking at the 1D Mark 1, the absolutely amazing 4 megapixel monster that came after everyone was using film, and this is the first pro body with a crop sensor, and generally is actually quite fun to use. So what we're going to do first, we're going to go through the full specs of this camera. We'll look at some photos I've taken with the camera, and then I'll tell you my overall views of the camera. So let's get into the specs right now. So here we have the 1D Mark 1, the original digital 1D here, 2001. Let's have a look at what you got for your money in 2001. So this is a 4.15 megapixel camera. Very simple. You've got a crop sensor on the front. There he is there, nice and tidy. You have very simple controls on this camera. There's nothing too crazy. You've got your hot shoe, you've got your mode change buttons, everything over there. You've got your light to turn on so you can see displays. You've got your shutter button, you've got your dials. It's nothing too complicated. Anything that is confusing between this and a more modern 1D is you've got to hold these buttons down while going through the menus, rather than now you just press the button and go through the menu, and you have lots of different combinations compared to a more modern 1D. On the side, don't have much in the way of controls here, but you do have your flash and your remote switches there, and you do have a digital input, which is a specific cable, so you can download photos from there. Battery wise, this is an even bigger battery than what comes with the more modern ones. You do have a safety release on the side, which in this battery is broken, which is why it came straight out. This is an MP-E3. You can't really get hold of these anymore. They charge by this little triangle here in the corner, which is so you don't have like a slide-in system like you do with the more modern ones. You have a box and the cable that plugs into the end. They're really hard to get hold of now. You can still get them. I have loads because one of my cameras actually came with about 6 of these, so luckily I have spares for the future. On this side here, not much going on really. You've got your buttons there, you've got your scroller, and you've got your switch here to turn the grip on and off. I always leave that on. Then on the back you have your very small screen for your viewing everything. I don't know if I've got a card in here or not, so I could show you what's on there, but no images on there. But it is a very basic screen on the back, very poor viewing angles, so you can't really rely on what the screen says there to kind of look at your imagery. You've got to take the photo like you would with a film camera and kind of rely on the numbers you see and knowing that the exposure is right and everything to get the image, and then you come back and you can obviously edit those images post photo. You've got your release here for your card slot. You've got one CF card slot. It has a maximum capacity of 2 gigabytes, the card you can put in here. Which, lucky I still have some of my older cards from when I started doing photography that I could reuse in this camera to do that. You don't have back button focus. That button on this camera changes your focus point, which there are not many on this camera. There are 45 autofocus points on here, so nothing crazy. While we're talking about internal specs, your film speed, you got 200 to 1600 EV steps, and your ISO is 100 to 3200. Your usable ISO, in my opinion, is maxed out at an absolute limit of 800 ISO. You have all your buttons along the side here to control your menu. You can note record if you want to make a note of the order, the photo that you have taken on here. But overall, this is where it all started for the 1D. This is a camera that people went from film to digital, and this is when the pros did for sports. This is what they used, and then went from there. You had the 1DS which is the full frame equivalent, more megapixels, and that's what a lot of press photographers use to get that bigger, better quality image. This is, say, for the money now, these cost about £250. It's a brick. You know, it is slightly smaller than the more modern 1Ds, but it still is a very hefty brick, full magnesium body. As you can see by this example here, this is the only one I could find online that actually worked when I bought this. It's got a lot of scuffs along here, especially around here. It's a heavily used camera. I've not managed to get the shutter count off it yet, but it is a very, very well used camera, and it still works as good, in my opinion, as the day it was new, as you'll see from the imagery we'll look at next. So the first image we have here is of a flower on some water here. You've got a bit of a fly there on the left hand side too. But as you can see, the details and the colours are really, really nice on this camera. This is, as I say, only a 4 megapixel camera. It's 23 years old, and the colours are just really nice, and the details on here. I know I'm giving it the best chance possible using L glass, but when it came out, you used L glass with these cameras, and the 7200 is the same. It's actually older, and my 300mm is older than this camera. So, you know, these are lenses that you would have used here. So the colours are really nice, the pinks are really well displayed here, the greens are really nice and not overly green, and so just the details, even on the fly on that left petal there, is really, really nice. Next one here really, really nicely shows off the colours. This was a 7200 at 2.8, but the details on the antennae on this butterfly here, or moth in fact I think it might actually be, is really nice, and you can zoom in and you can still get some of the details of the eyes as well. And to say, when I first picked this camera up, I was not expecting to be able to get the details and the colours that I've got here from them. Being that 4 megapixels, I remember my first camera was 2 megapixels. I point and shoot and you wouldn't get any photos like this at all. It just shows you how much processing power they put into this camera, even being when it was actually made. It's really nice and really impressive to see that you can get these kind of photos with this camera. And here we are again. This is shooting through some plants. I wanted to see what the autofocus was like, shooting through things, and you can see with Bob on, you know, this is again 7200 at 200mm, straight through the foliage in front, focusing dead on the butterfly, moth, whatever it is. You can see it's drinking some pollen out of the flower. You've got really nice detail here. It's not something you can blow up a crazy amount, being then, you know, 4 megapixels, and as you zoom in you are increasing that amount of noise that's in the photo, but it is still a really nice, and I think a very, very usable photo still, and I'm seriously incredibly impressed of the image quality that I've managed to get out of this camera, being only 4 megapixels. Okay, as you can see, 4 megapixels doesn't sound like a lot, but you can still, if you're getting a nice, sharp, good quality image, you can still do a fair amount with that photo. It is an absolute tank of a camera, and I can believe why it's 23 years old and still works really, really well. As I said, I don't have a shutter count for this, because I don't know how you actually get a shutter count for a camera this old. But you know, it doesn't matter, it works absolutely perfectly. All the settings work fine. It's just making sure you have the right cards and everything that go with it. Have nothing more than a 2 GB card, and it has to be formatted in a really weird way to actually work with the camera. But when you get all those working, it's really nice to use something that just isn't so automated, like a modern mirrorless camera like the R3 and the R10 and everything else that I've got to hand. It's nice to actually have to think about the photo, and with the screen being so small and really not really that usable for reviewing the photo, it gives you an idea of obviously the way where everything's sort of put and where you got it laid out, and the colours and the sharpness, and you can't really tell from the photo. You've got to use everything you've got through the viewfinder to know what you're getting from the photo, like you would with film. So you got to look for the exposure bar and everything like that to see where you are, and it brings that little bit of fun back into photography. It's something that when I first thought I'll go take this out and use it, I was a bit nervous, because I was like, well, what if I see a photo that I actually really want to capture, and I haven't been brave enough yet to take it out as the only camera I take out, I always take something else with me, just in case something does happen and I want to catch a moment that I'm scared I wouldn't be able to get with this, or the quality wouldn't be good enough. And to be honest, I'm actually at the point where, especially after using all these 1Ds for so long now for these videos, that I might actually take this out as a camera and do a fuller, longer form video of filming me going out with the camera and taking photos of wildlife and everything like that you would have done back in 2002 when you first picked up this camera, or like go to a local cricket game or something like that and get photos of sports photography. Like, this was designed as the sports photographer's pro body from Canon at the time. Obviously you had the 1DS Mark 1 if you were more into portraits, or if you were a press photographer and you need those more megapixels to boost the image size itself. But I'm actually getting more confident with this, that I might say start to actually take it out a bit more, and maybe even after I've done these videos, go a bit more in depth of what these cameras are like in certain different environments. So low light, sports, go through sort of wildlife photography as well. And obviously I'm using them with the bigger lenses. Also to hand right here, I've got the 500mm attached to the R10 ready for that video to go live this weekend. So we can do that. If you guys are still interested in this series, or you're still interested in looking at the retro cameras, I'm more than happy to start increasing them and actually taking them out as my only camera to get these more different images than I usually take, which is stuff a little bit more local to me that's easier to get, and try and get those harder photos with these and show you what you can do with 4 megapixels, what you can do without your back button focus, all these luxuries, the eye tracking, everything that we're so used to now with more modern cameras 23 years later on. So if you want to see that sort of content, let me know in the comments down below. I'm more than happy to look into that and spend some time doing that content if that's what you want to see. But for now, great camera. If you want a bit of fun, if you want to have a camera that you can pick up and you don't care about, to start with anyway, what the quality of images look like, because it will take you some time to get used to it. It's not an instant thing. It actually has got a bit of learning, and you've got to think about the photo more than just go out there and point and shoot. It is really fun. I picked this up for 250 quid. They are hard to get hold of for that sort of money now, because they just don't pop up that often. That's why I picked it up while I could. But if you can get one and you want to practice something at 4 megapixels and see what you can do with those images, then go for it. It's definitely worth the money. Even as a collector's thing to pop on the shelf and look at. It's just such a nice camera to look at, nice camera to hold, and a nice camera to use. So I hope you enjoyed the video. Please subscribe, comment and like. This weekend we will be doing the final video on the R10. So I'll be going through the full review on that camera with you. If you want to see that, make sure to hit that bell icon so you don't miss the video. And I will catch you in the next one. Thanks for always, and goodbye.